I should be able to. I don't know where it's going to end up, but I'll do my best to find it and send it to you.
It says you're recording now. So
Yeah.
here we are, and we're experimenting with great new technology. What a long, wonderful day it's been. And Cathy,
It's only halfway through.
we have a lot more work to do before the end of the day, miles to walk before we sleep, and we've been at this information war, if you will, for a long time. But I want to say what you guys did last week by sharing out your live stream on the steps of our state capitol in St. Paul was tremendous. And I want to thank Cathy Blaeser. She's the co-director, co-exec, co-executive director of the Minnesota Citizens Concerned for Life. What a fantastic event. You had 38 buses come to St. Paul last week. Take a victory lap, Cathy. Tell us about the work at
You
MCCL.
know, it was a wonderful day. It was more successful than I think we even thought it would be. It was so impactful for people to actually see the humanity behind those numbers, right? To think that there were 12,000 abortions in Minnesota, but then to see what that really looks like. And we tried to be really true to the abortion report from the Minnesota Department of Health. So there were 12,175 babies. They were proportionate to brown babies and white babies. There were just under 700 second trimester babies between 16 weeks and 22 weeks. And so it was a true representation of the humanity behind that number that is so huge and is skyrocketing as we speak. It was a wonderful day. People were we're still getting calls and emails from people saying that they want to be involved, that they, that the impact that it had on them, and wanting to volunteer, wanting to make a difference in their communities. How do I help? How do I get more involved? So it was a great and tragic day.
Great and tragic, that visual representation you did. And for those who haven't seen the live stream, we can try to share that out again to get it to everyone, because it was a demonstration, a graphic demonstration of the carnage, the human wreckage of humanity. It was laid out on a cart, and the fetuses, the feti, were in various levels of gestation, representing the actual manifestation of babies murdered. And it was and then people carried the fetus of their choice into the state capitol, and then they set it down around inside the rotunda of our state capitol building on platforms around the L'Etoile du Nord and in the state capitol, which must never be walked upon. But
Right.
It was so graphic. And nothing triggers like success for the opposition. But as you say, you have people now calling you up and sending you emails and say, how do you get involved with this? And what do you tell them when they want to get this excitement going? Because people want to be part of success and not always doomers and failures. They want to be part of what you're doing now.
Right.
What do you
And
tell them?
And what we're doing is creating a pro-life culture, or as I like to say, recreating a pro-life culture in Minnesota. So we have a brand new Center for Pro-Life Minnesota that is seeking to create a culture of conversation. So one of the main things we're doing for people right now, for our youth, for churches, for our chapter leaders, for Minnesotans in general, is really providing the tools to be able to have a conversation about abortion, about where they stand, and how extreme our laws are right now. And Minnesotans are not where the legislature and Governor Walz took us this last session. We have abortion on demand for all 9 months of pregnancy, for any reason, for no reason, with absolutely no protections for women, no protections for being able to make a different choice, right? Support for actually choosing life. When women say, I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford this baby, they're not asking for a dead baby. They're asking for help. And the legislature in 2023, the DFL leadership, Governor Walz, took every bit of help away and said, really, the only option we want you to have is an abortion. We want to answer your cry for help with a dead child. And that is not where most Minnesotans are. They want to be able to provide help for the woman, to be able to provide alternatives to abortion, to be able to stand beside that woman and really answer her cry for help with real solutions. And that's not what Governor Walz and his pro-abortion leadership did for Minnesotans. And so when we're talking to people and encouraging them to have these conversations and discover that really across Minnesota, we are all on the same page in terms of what we really want in abortion policy. And abortion for all 9 months of pregnancy for any reason and for no reason is not what Minnesotans want. So we need to be able to have those conversations so that we can get policy that actually reflects the desires of the constituency and not the desires of the abortion industry.
And speaking of your desire to have that conversation and foster that conversation, I think you and I, without, I'm not asking your age, but I'm old enough to remember when the leftists said proudly, I'm not afraid to have that conversation. And that's what they were all, it was a tagline they would
Right.
say. And now they don't want to talk about that. And they just want not just abortion, but they want end of life legislation. You know, they're calling it that, by the way, just like they call abortion health care.
Right.
Right, or women's health care. It's not the case, but so when you start these conversations with people, what are the go-to arguments that they provide? They say, my body, my choice, but then that sort of collapsed because obviously the baby's body is not your body. Or it's just a clump of cells. Well, it's not just a clump of cells because, you know, would you cut off your little finger if that was inconveniencing you? Or,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are their go-to arguments when you study the, you know, metaphorical enemy, if you will?
Right. And you're very right. In the legislature and in the hearings and on the floor in debate, it's a lot of obfuscation of what the truth is. They don't want those 12,000 babies to have a human face, right? They don't want that display. They just want it to be a clump of cells. But when we have those conversations with our neighbor and our family members and our friends at work and all of those kinds of things, if we can, it's very actually simple to come to a place where we actually have common ground. Because again, most people don't think that abortion on demand is good abortion policy. Most people don't think that leaving babies to die is what Minnesota Nice is all about. We don't leave babies to die. We provide care for babies. And so just having a conversation that starts with, I can't believe what just happened in the legislature. Did you know that this happened? And then stepping back and letting them answer and answering their questions, right? Not trying to win the argument, but trying to have a conversation so that we can have another conversation. And so that they feel, you know, I've had numerous conversations with people who don't agree with us on abortion policy necessarily, but they're discovering that they can have a conversation with someone that they don't agree with. And that is what changes the culture. And that is what we're going to have to do, each and every one of us, every day as we face this next legislative session and the further things that they want to do to take us even further to extreme abortion policy. We're going to have to be having one conversation at a time, thousands of conversations across the state in order to let people know that what the legislature wants, what Governor Walz wants, what the abortion industry wants is extreme abortion in our Constitution, in our laws, in our courts, with no other choice actually provided to women, that they're not actually given real answers to their real problems, their real concerns. Pregnancy can come with real concerns, real fears, real obstacles. And offering an abortion is not the way we need to be responding to those real issues that women are facing.
And hopefully men are part of that component too, because the
Yes.
regret that men feel from such an incident in this life, to think of your offspring ending up on that that wreckage, that pile of humanity. Do you deal sometimes with people who've had abortion in their lives and then they come to regret and are incapacitated by that, or do they seek counseling for these things? Because they end up being sort of the walking wounded, don't they? And
Yes.
one can't experience that and then not come away impacted by it. It's just not humanely possible. Uh, is it? How do you deal with that? Is there a place where people can seek help?
Yes, and that's one of the things that we provided at the March for Life was an ability to access post-abortive healing. And they work with women, they work with men, they work with anybody who has been injured by abortion. And really, when you think about the numbers of abortion in our state and in our nation, we have all been impacted by abortion. We all, whether we actually realize it or not, it has impacted our lives in one way or another. And so there are some wonderful ministries out there that work with people to go through that healing, because healing is possible. It is possible to wake up in the morning and not feel the guilt and the shame and the dread and the horror of those memories, to be able to be healed, to come to a place where you can wake up and have joy in your life again, as you wake up and experience the loss, but know the healing.
Yes. And at Minnesota Citizens Concerned for Life, we're going to provide in the description below this video ways and means of reaching out to Minnesota Citizens Concerned for Life for getting involved, seeking help if you are pregnant, involved with a woman who's pregnant, and also if you're in recovery mode from a pregnancy, reach out to Minnesota Citizens Concerned for Life. Looking forward to the year ahead. After such a huge success, right? It's sort of like a Beatles hit, right? For the younger folks in the crowd, that reference maybe go over your heads. But what could you possibly do? I mean, to go above and beyond this success that was so tremendous, and live streaming it, by the way, was so powerful.
Yeah.
What's in store? What can we look forward to next from Minnesota Citizens Concerned for Life?
Well, I will say, just in terms of the live stream, that I know that there were some audio issues when we were actually live streaming it. So some people were not able to hear well, but that has been fixed. So you can go to mccl.org and watch it and listen to it at the same time. And we've had lots of people who have been accessing that video. But, we're looking at this next legislative session. And I want to encourage people that even though we lost a lot in the 2023 legislative session, we actually did have some victories. They were silent victories. Nobody's telling you about them, but we actually were able to protect some of our laws, and it was really important to be able to do that. And so we're going to be marching into this next legislative session looking to protect the laws that we do have, to change the laws that were implemented, that were forced upon us with a very slim majority, right? They had a 4-vote majority in the House and a 1-vote majority in the Senate. And so it is not the will of the people. They were just marching in unison to get this through, whether it was what the people wanted or not. They didn't really care. They just wanted to get it passed. And so they
They had the
did.
trifecta. They controlled everything. The trifecta, governor, all the legislature.
And
So
they did things in the legislature that have never been done before, in ways that have never been done before. It was very distressing, but we did win. We asked people to call and to write and to email and to visit their legislators and to put pressure on them. And in some areas that pressure worked, and things that they wanted to do with their trifecta, they were not able to do. And so we just need to continue that pressure, to increase that pressure, because in this next legislative session, they really want to pass a constitutional amendment, and we need to stop that. So we will be asking everyone who is connected to us in any way to be working hard again during this next legislative session and to stop that effort to get a constitutional amendment on our ballot. That is not what Minnesotans want. We don't want abortion in our Minnesota Constitution. We want the ability to pass reasonable laws that have reasonable abortion policies that reflect the will of the people. And that is not what would happen with a constitutional amendment. So if you are not currently connected with MCCL, please connect with us on social media, connect with our website, make sure you're getting our information. We will be sending out up to the minute information on what is going on and how you can make a difference right now, not next November. We need you to make a difference next November, but we need to be making a difference every day between now and the November elections.
And you have, I believe, at your website, a toolbox for people to get involved with,
Yes.
whether it's youth groups or camps or pastoral care situations. I think on your website you have a nice toolbox, and I would also like to share all of your social media sites. I found you on Facebook, for instance, and we could put that in the description below the video when it's published so that people can link up and figure out how to get involved. You can call your legislator, you can send an email, you can do whatever you can. And when is your next big rally? Have you're in recovery mode because that was fantastic. But do you have another date in mind
So
in the
we always
summer?
have our March for Life on January 22nd. So that is when the next March for Life will be, is next January 22nd. But we do have a number of events coming up. We have 3 student days at the Capitol. So if you are in middle school or high school, these are great opportunities to learn more and to actually get involved. Whether you want to learn how to start a pro-life club at your school, you want to learn how to contact your legislators, you want to learn more about getting involved politically. So we have 3 student days at the Capitol scheduled in the next couple of months. And then we also have our Life Leadership Camp coming up for high school students in the summer, so that there'll be one in June and one again in August. So you can sign up for one or the other. And so these will be ways for youth to really get involved. And then there will be opportunities for adults as well to come to the legislature and make your views heard. But those will happen as the legislature moves and as there are hearings and things like that going on particular pieces of legislation. So the way to find out about those is truly to be just paying attention to us on social media and at our website. Make sure you're getting our emails and that you're hearing from us. We will not inundate you, but we will give you up to the minute information about how you can make a difference right now.
And that's fantastic because the youth are the future. And when the youth turn out for these rallies, it's unbelievably inspirational for all generations. And it's terrifying for the people on the other side to see that the young people are really not for this. They want to have stable lives and they want to have happiness in their person, and they don't want to end up making the mistakes that so many others fell victim to. And maybe we should leave it at that, but I would share just that at one of the rallies here when Roe v. Wade was overturned, the Planned Parenthood people had a rally, but the youngest people who came out that day were actually some teenagers and some college students, and it was very impactful. They didn't know what to make of it, that the people who were opposing the Planned Parenthood were actually the youth.
Yeah.
So,
when you think about our youth, they've grown up with ultrasounds. They know that's a baby. They know that's a baby, and they are all about human rights. And so they know that baby deserves the same human rights that you and I deserve. And that's why they're pro-life. That's why this is the most pro-life generation ever, is because they know the science and they believe in human rights.
one of the questions I posed to the Planned Parenthood activists at their rallies here in Rochester is that if it's your body and your choice, are you getting some residual payments from the company that's taking the baby parts or doing something with the DNA or the stem cell research? Are you, because that's your body, right?
Right.
I mean,
Wow.
shouldn't you, I mean, that's grotesque, but they didn't have an answer to that. So
Right.
there's creative approaches. But I have to thank you, Cathy Blaeser. of the Minnesota Citizens Concerned for Life. Thanks for doing this today, and thanks for all your hard work. And you guys are an inspiration. Way to go last week. That was really
Thank
good.
you. And thanks
Yeah,
for helping us promote it. It's so important what you're doing. So thank you for that.
thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye bye.